This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be? Me, your me. Louie T, welcome. You are here in the lab room on lockdown coverage with your man Louie T, breaking down each and every single contest from week 1 in the National Football League. We're talking Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens in what was probably, and I haven't watched all the games in week 1 yet, still got about 3 or 4 more to go, but I'm assuming this was the worst game of the weekend. This one was one of those games that could easily put you to sleep. If you weren't wide awake, this is the one that you can get a pillow to, get you a little bit of rest and wake up and you probably didn't miss anything. So let's jump into this one quickly. First things first, let's set the table before we eat. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for joining me on this program. And subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for great content now and into the future as I continue to cover the entire National Football League like a blanket here on lockdown coverage. Also on Twitter, @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Please be sure to follow me there. And also on Facebook, In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Give me a like, thumbs up if you're on Facebook as well. With that being said, let's jump into this game. Bills at the Ravens. Not a lot of intrigue or suspense or action in this football game. And so there are some things to discuss, however. So let's get into the likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe in this football game. We start with the road team as I usually do. And we'll talk about the Bills in the first half and the things that I liked. Shady Mccoy, one of the lone bright spots in this game for the Bills. He looked spry, made some beautiful cuts, some very decisive runs. Thought he did some good things, catching the football out of the backfield, making guys miss, as he normally does. Wasn't a lot of space to operate, okay? And when you throw for 111 yards, no one's afraid of your passing game. So then they start bringing guys up closer and closer and closer to the line of scrimmage, making it harder and harder and harder for you to have any space to maneuver. So it was a tough day at the office for Shady Mccoy, but I thought he made the most out of his situation with limited resources around him. Tyrod Taylor with a Mr. Magic Man act on one particular play. One of the lone bright spot plays for Tyrod Taylor was he's in the pocket, he's under duress, he spins out of one sack, then spins out of another one, and then going to his left, throwing across his body, he lofts it up as he's backpedaling, trying to get away from the rush to a wide open Charles Clay. Again, a masterful play. One of those Houdini escaping acts that you only get from very active and mobile quarterbacks that can extend plays outside of the pocket and even in the pocket, as in the case on this particular play where he had to escape the pocket by spinning twice in order to get outside the pocket to create the play down the field to Charles Clay, who then broke a tackle and almost got into the end zone, setting up the lone Bills touchdown on the day. And that even didn't come easy, as they had to go for it on 4th down to get in a Shady McCoy 1-yard plunge to get in for their lone points on the afternoon. Those were my likes for the Bills in the first half. You go to the likes for the Ravens in the first half. Breshad Perriman. It's just good to see Breshad Perriman on the football field at the same time with Joe Flacco. It was a sight for Ravens fans and their sore eyes because they've been waiting for this since they selected this young fella out of UCF. Good to see him making a play, going up, down the sideline, tough, a defender right in his hip pocket, and him climbing the ladder, extending for the football. This is what they've been waiting for, and if they can get more plays like this for Breshad Perriman, they will feel a lot better about that first round 2015 pick that they spent on him. Thought it was a great introduction to the Ravens fans. They're looking for much more of that from Perriman moving forward. Justin Tucker, just incredible, is on my likes list. Again, he's one of those guys that he's just automatic for me. I think he's the best kicker in all of football. There are a couple of other guys that are up there with him, but I think he's above the rest in terms of his ability to drill the football, clutch situations, you name it. This guy is money. Love Justin Tucker. And he was the difference in this game because Buffalo scored a touchdown, Baltimore scored a touchdown, but the difference in the game, 2 Justin Tucker field goals, and the Bills struggled in that department. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but good to know you got a guy that when you send him on the field, he's going to deposit 3 points onto the scoreboard. Kicks of 50 and 37 for Justin Tucker. Just incredible in this game, as that was the difference in this game. The 6 points that he put on the scoreboard via field goals was the difference in the Ravens winning this game 13-7. Mike Wallace, 60 minutes. I told everyone out there that Mike Wallace was not done. He wasn't washed up. He just was in situations where quarterbacks couldn't get on the football. I told you that. In his last 2 stops, his previous 2 stops in Miami and last year in Minnesota, you're dealing with 2 quarterbacks that struggle to get the football deep to their receivers. He's in a place now where you're going to get the football down the field. Joe Flacco throws one of the most gorgeous deep balls in all of the National Football League. And you saw it on that play. Wallace wins immediately in the slot, gets up the field. Flacco puts it on him in a position where he can not only catch it, but catch it and run away from the defender, which is what he did en route to a 66-yard touchdown, the only touchdown on the afternoon for the Ravens. Like I said, Mike Wallace is going to be a huge contributor in 2016 for this Ravens offense. He gives them that Torrey Smith feel and that deep threat weapon that they've been lacking since Torrey Smith exited to San Francisco. Let's go to the first half dislikes for both teams. And for the Bills, squandered great field position off of a fumble. Joe Flacco not expecting the football as he's in the shotgun, and the center snaps the football. Flacco's barking out orders. Ball hits him in his stomach, trickles down to the turf. Bills recover. They don't do anything with it. Go 3 and out. Have to punt the football. Wasted an opportunity to put some points on the scoreboard with some great field position. It was that kind of day for the Bills where they couldn't do much right offensively. And to me, this was a little bit of a microcosm of their day. They get a great play by the defense in order to, or really a lucky break that Flacco in the center aren't on the same page. Ball comes out. They get the football, and they can't do anything with it offensively. That's my only dislike for the first half, other than the offense just being anemic. But we can save that for the second half because I think that's more of a total game dislike than just the first half dislike. You go to the Ravens first half dislikes. It's that same play that I just mentioned. Flacco in the center having a miscommunication. Flacco, like I said, trying to set line protection and barking out orders so that everybody's on the same page, and the center just snaps the football, hits him in his stomach. Ball hits the turf. Bills recover. That's a situation where, again, in a game like this where there were only 20 combined points scored, you can't have turnovers like this. Luckily enough, they were playing the Buffalo Bills, who found it increasingly hard as the day went on, increasingly harder to score, and only was able to muster 7 points. If you were playing anybody else in the National Football League in week 1, you probably lose this football game with only 13 points being scored. So these types of turnovers, you got to avoid them if you're the Ravens. And again, it's the week 1. Flacco hasn't played since week 12 or so last season. Everybody's kind of getting their feet wet. Remember, he only played in 1 preseason game, did Joe Flacco. So again, everybody's kind of still feeling each other out, still getting that continuity together. So don't expect these problems moving forward. But at home, if you're going on a silent count, whatever the case may be, that shouldn't happen at home. Noise shouldn't be an issue, but they had some kind of snafu with the snap. And again, that was my only dislike of the first half. Let's go to the second half and the likes, and we go back to Buffalo for this. And it's only one like, and it's the Bills' defense. The Bills' defense played good enough for them to win this game. It's a shame that they wasted the effort that they put forth in this game and only got 7 points of support for what they put forth on the defensive side of the football. Their efforts went for spoils, essentially, because they put up an effort that was good enough to win. You give up 13 points in this league, you're supposed to win every time. Every single time. If you play well enough to only give up 13 points on the defensive side of the football, you're supposed to win 10 times out of 10 in this league. No questions about it. It's a passing league. Points are scored through the passing game. It's not often that you're going to hold a team to 13 points in any given game. You hold a team to 13 points, your offense should be able to scrape 14 points together and win you the ball game. Unfortunately for the Bills defensively, their offense wasn't able to meet that quota in this football game. Jerry Hughes had a huge game, 2 sacks. The Bills were all over Joe Flacco, yet they could not make the play. They needed to make a play. They needed to force a turnover. They had an opportunity. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but they needed to make a play because obviously the offense wasn't going to do it. They needed to make something happen. They had an opportunity. They didn't take advantage. They ended up losing this football game. Go to the second half lights for the Ravens, and I didn't have much to say on the Ravens doing good things in the second half. Sharice Wright was good, and this Ravens defense was good. They were all over Tyrod Taylor in this game, aggressive from start to finish. Sharice Wright, a guy that I killed all offseason, and I don't think this is what you're going to get from Sharice Wright every week, but he made some plays in this game. He was all over ball carriers, tackled well, was around the football. Thought Sharice Wright looked damn good at cornerback in this ball game. And the Ravens defense up front, Timmy Jernigan's and company, Terrell Suggs, good to see him back on the field. All of these guys were around the quarterback, harassing Tyrod Taylor, making him uncomfortable, not giving up a bunch of rushing lanes to Shady McCoy nor Reginald Bush. They tried a lot of underneath routes and a lot of underneath throws to the backside of the backfield. They smothered those. Again, when you don't push the football down the field, you don't threaten me deep. There's no reason for me to respect you deep. So guess what I'm going to start doing? With every possession, I start inching closer. My safeties get a little closer. My linebackers get a little closer to the line of scrimmage. So when you want to dump it down to Reginald Bush, when you want to dump it down to Shady McCoy, guess what? I've already got guys on the case because they're not that far away from the play because you haven't backed me off at all. And we'll talk about that here in a second. So Ravens defense was my lone bright spot in the second half for this Baltimore Ravens football team. Let's get to the dislikes in the second half. For the Bills, they were aplenty. Missed 52-yard field goal by Dan Carpenter. Look, I talked about how automatic and how good it is to have a guy that you know when you send him out on the field, he's going to connect and put 3 points on the scoreboard. And just incredible, Mr. Justin Tucker for the Baltimore Ravens. Well, the Bills couldn't say the same thing as Dan Carpenter missed from 52 yards. In a game where you're struggling to score points, you need every single point to count in this ball game. You send him out there for a field goal, you need him to connect. He missed. And again, that takes away the little bit of momentum that the Bills were trying to build at that point in the game. Missed that field goal, kills all momentum. They had struggled to get the football even into scoring range, even to attempt a field goal for the majority of this game. You finally get there, and Dan Carpenter can't connect on the field goal. This was the play that I alluded to earlier when I said that the Bills defensively needed to make a play. They had to do it themselves. This offense wasn't going to do it on this day. Ronald Darby had a chance at a pick six. Joe Flacco threw the football to the flat. It was a bad decision, first and foremost. It was an even worse throw, and it went right to Darby, who was kind of trying to turn his body around, didn't quite get it around fast enough, but he still should have caught the football. Don't know if it would have been a pick six or not. Might have taken him some time to get his feet on the ground and get the balance to turn directions and then run. Maybe somebody catches him from behind, but that would have been great field position. It would have been an opportunity for the defense to flip the field and give the offense great scoring position and an opportunity to put some points on the scoreboard. He dropped the football, and that was their last opportunity defensively to make something happen in this game. You can't miss those opportunities. You don't get them enough in this league. And when you're in a 13-7 ball game and an opportunity like that comes your way, you got to take advantage of it. And I'd like to think that the score might have even been 10-7 at that time, not 13-7. Can't confirm nor deny that, but I can tell you this much. That's an opportunity that you cannot allow to go by the wayside if you're Ronald Darby. You got to pick that football off. He didn't. That was a big opportunity missed. Wasted timeouts. Again, the Bills, look, nothing went right for them in this game, including the usage of their timeouts. They only had one timeout remaining. As they got to about the 8-9 minute mark of the fourth quarter, they were down to one timeout. So in a game where you're down by one score, a touchdown essentially, and an extra point gives you the win, you want your timeouts at the end of the ball game to give you a chance to potentially steal this game at the end. And they didn't have but one left. So even if you were in a situation where you're looking to stop the clock and get a stop so you can get the football back, you don't have the necessary timeouts to give you the ability to do that. So again, Bills just not doing the little things in this game to give themselves a chance. And this is the biggest dislike for me in this game with the Bills is offensive regression. Is it me or did this offense look pedestrian in this game? And I don't know if this was game planning or what, but I saw Tyrod Taylor stand confidently in the pocket last season and deliver the football. I saw none of that in this game. Everything was dink and dunk. Everything was short. Everything was to the backside of the backfield. Everything was handoffs to the backs, out of shotgun. Didn't see a lot of under the center stuff. This offense looked like it took 3 steps back in this football game. My question is, why? Okay, I don't have the answer for that. It's not like you got a new offensive coordinator or anything of the sort. My question is, what the hell happened? Because this offense looked light years worse than it did last year. Like I said, last year, I saw a confident Tyrod Taylor standing in the pocket, delivering the football to receivers who had chances to make plays. I did not see any of that. I didn't even see, remember early in the season last year, first 4 or 5 games of the season, Tyrod Taylor was hitting the deep ball with regularity. This Bills offense scoring 30 plus points like it was going out of style. What happened to that? Did you even see one deep shot in this game? Because I don't recall a deep shot. Now, granted, up front, Tyrod Taylor was harassed. And I don't know if he had enough time to drive the football down the field. But I didn't even see one shot taken. Not one single shot taken down the field. Now that you can't explain to me because there's no explanation for that. Even if you know it's going to be incomplete, you got to throw it deep just to show the defense that we're willing to take a shot and you need to back the hell up. None of that in this game. Everything was short to intermediate and most was short. Everything was dink and dunk to the backside of the backfield. The Ravens had no reason to respect the vertical passing game or the threat of it in this game. And so they just packed everything in, brought everybody up towards the line of scrimmage, and that was a recipe for disaster in this game for the Buffalo Bills. I saw offensive regression. That scares the hell out of me. If I'm a Bills fan, this game scares the hell out of me. 160 total yards of offense. Beats no one in this league. And the dislikes, or in this case, the dislike in the second half for the Ravens, offensive flow and rhythm. That's going to come over time. Okay, Flacco just getting back. You're getting all of these other guys back into the saddle. Steve Smith, Sr. just coming back. Bashad Perriman just coming back. You got guys that are rookies coming into the mix. All of this stuff is going to take time to gel. So you got a new left tackle. Look, it's a lot of moving parts. I get it. But this team offensively had no rhythm, had no flow, had no tempo. They were out of sync. They were out of sorts. They did just enough to get by in this game. But it won't be enough moving forward. They're going to have to be better. You expect them to improve as they get more time with one another and continuity begins to grow. I expect that, but it didn't happen in this game. That was my second half dislike for the Ravens in this ball game. Let's check and see if we have any chat. And I don't see anything for this particular video. I'll check Twitter quickly. Don't have anything there. So that's going to do it for the Bills and the Baltimore Ravens in week 1 of the National Football League. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. You have just watched Lockdown coverage, covering the entire National Football League like a blanket. It's your man, Louie Tee. I'll see you some more today. I got many more games to watch. I'll see you in a bit. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you next time. Have a good one.